Hello my friends and welcome to the Mindful Making YouTube channel. Here we talk about yarn, we talk about making, primarily knitting, and the sense of grounding and calm that making with our hands give us. So welcome. I hope you have a cup of coffee and a project with you and that you will enjoy spending the next half hour or so with me. Today we will celebrate the release of a new design of mine, and it's called the Celosia Scarf. More on that later, but before we get into that part of the podcast, let me just tell you where else you can find me. You can find me as Mindful Making on Instagram and mindfulmaking.au on Ravelry, and everything is linked into my website, which is called mindfulmaking.com.au, where you also have the shop where you can purchase any of the designs that I create. My name is Jane and I'm coming to you from Allerød, a suburb north of Copenhagen in Denmark. Lately, we've had beautiful winter weather here, as you would have seen in the introduction video. My New Year's resolution was to go out for 30 minutes walk every day, and I've managed to keep that up. And it was no issue at all when the weather was sunny and frosty and cold, and with the beautiful whiteness of the snow that we've had lately. Welcome to episode number, I think it's 71, and we are in the towards the end of February. And as I mentioned, we will talk about the Celosia Scarf. Here I will insert some pictures of the design that was originally knitted up in Mayflower Premium Cashmere, so a luxurious yarn in a bright, wonderful red color. That sample has been gifted, but I thought that I wanted to knit up a few more to provide some yarn alternatives for the pattern and for the design. So what I'm wearing here is the Celosia Scarf, and it's knitted up holding two strands of yarn held together. It is a Holzgarn Coast, and they're a new yarn from them, which I can't remember the name of, but I have it here. It's called Lucia, and I have them here, the yarn. So here we have the Coast yarn, and this is colorway Crimson, and then Lucia. And this is a wonderfully fluffy alternative to silk mohair, and the blend is 42% baby alpaca, 35% silk, 13% merino wool, and 10% yak. So it's a wonderful combination, the fiber blend of this yarn. The colorway here, this beautiful red, is called Lava. You can see here, this is my new knitting book that I have created, and I have put in the labels and examples of the yarn, so I can refer to that forever, basically. The Celosia Scarf is this nice little scarf as we have grown used to, and I have introduced a texture throughout that gives some interest in the process of knitting, and also some interest when wearing it. I will untie this so you can see it in its full beauty. This is, let me see, this is the right side, and we have a combination of knit and purl, so ribbing and then yarn overs, and then garter ridges. It is worked from one end to the other and with a built-in I-cord at the edges. It is about 116, 15, 20-ish centimeter, you know, depending on how you stretch it out. It can be stretched out quite significantly. The pattern with the original yarn, the pattern is written for a 3mm US 2.5 needle for a light fingering weight yarn. But here, with the combination of the two yarns that I showed you, I have worked this version of the Celosia Scarf on a 4.0 millimeter needle, which is a US 10. No, not a US 10, a US 6, of course. And basically, even though that the pattern talks about a certain gauge and a certain needle size and certain yarn that gives that gauge, you can knit it up in basically any yarn and any needle size that work with that suit that yarn. So here on that 4mm needle, you basically increase to the center front point, which is here, and then you start decreasing. And to get the same dimensions as, or the final measurements that is provided in the pattern, I stopped with fewer stitches here center front. Because of course with a larger needle and a larger yarn, or a thicker yarn, heavier yarn, each stitch just takes up more space. You could also decide to knit to the number of stitches as indicated in the pattern, and then the scarf will be larger. So that's up to you, and that actually gives an ultimate flexibility of the pattern, that you can knit it up in any yarn and any needle size that you like. You can go splurging on a luxury yarn, or you can go stash busting, or pick out some leftover yarns that you can combine or hold single and get a scarf if you have the meterage indicated. For the original, I have used around 180 meters of yarn, and for this version, as I've noted here, I have said that I have used around 100 meters of each strand. So it's basically nothing. But as long as you know that half of your yarn, you have used up half of your yarn when you get to the midpoint here, and you need the same amount for the second half, you will be good. You will be good. This is the Celosia Scarf, and it is available. I will put it on again. It is available on Ravelry and on my website mindfulmaking.com.au, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing your versions of this little handy scarf. Thanks to the testers who have kindly given up or gifted me their time to knit up their version of the Celosia Scarf. Many have chosen a similar yarn as the original, a fingering weight type yarn that has a distinct stitch definition. In this version, due to the looser, the fluff, you do get it's a bit more. I'm about to washed out in the most positive sense, the pattern, but you can still get a feel for the texture. I have knitted up another version of the Celosia Scarf where I tried a yarn alternative with similar yardage as the premium cashmere from Mayflower, and I chose the Avetta Classic by Filcolana in this beautiful, and it comes up blue, teal blue on the screen. It actually is a army green with some blue undertones in it. So what you see does not represent the color in reality. Here it's single-stranded, a fingering weight sock yarn. I think it's an 85-15 mix. No, I think it's an 80-20 mix of merino and nylon. And I have used 170 meters here, or that is approximate 180 meters as well. So you can easily swap out the cashmere with another, a regular fingering yarn of 400 meters per 100 grams and get the same result. Of course, not as soft as cashmere would be. That is the top luxury yarn, and should you want to spend the money, I think this is manageable because you only need 50 grams, so 2 balls of the cashmere yarn. Yeah, the Celosia Scarf is ready for your needles as well. Today I am also wearing the Isla sweater, which is a design by Line Holme Samsø, and it's featured in her book Heather Hill. If you want to hear much more about this design, go back some episodes. I finished this a year ago. Yes, a year ago. So you can hear more about it when, scrolling back episodes. It is worked in Holst Super Soft in the colorway Bleached White, and it's held together with Titicaca 100% Alpaca in the colorway Ecru. It has a beautiful texture and these cables on either side. It's worked in pieces, and it does require some patience and persistence to get it done, at least for me. That said, though, I am working on the second version of this Isla sweater. In the last episode, I think I was finished. I had finished the back of a version for my daughter, and here I have used a combination of Holstgarn Coast in the colorway Dove, held together with the Titicaca again in colorway Ecru. And it does come up slightly more cool blue on the screen. It is a lovely shade of beige. I have here knitted size small for her, and I have swapped the blackberry stitches with double moss stitches in the centerpiece. Since the last video, I have finished the front. Here it is. Put it over here. Yes, another piece. And I have actually also finished the first sleeve. And as you see here, the texture is here repeated in the center, and then these cables basically under the side, you can see it here as well, on the sides or under the arm here. It will be interesting when seaming this, so that you have to match it, so it looks almost as if it's knitted in the round. That will take me at least a whole weekend, I think, to seam it eventually. There's still a sleeve left to knit. I just thought I needed a tiny break, so I am currently working on something else while this waits for the second sleeve. But the Isla sweater by Line Holme Samsø. So while the Isla sweater for my daughter is just having a break, I needed a pair of socks in my two suitcases that I brought here to Denmark while my other stuff are in transit overseas. I had 2 pairs of woolen socks. They are in high rotation over winter here, so I thought I needed a new pair of socks. And I had brought this yarn from its half-baked hand-dyed yarn. It comes up much more blue than it actually is. It is a lovely light aqua color, blue, green, turquoise, and I am knitting a pair of angel wings, englevinger, which is a pair of socks that Volmer Knits has designed. The pattern is only available in Danish. I've knit a pair of these before in a reddish brown color. Love them, and I thought this would be perfect for this yarn that I have left. So I started these a few days ago and loving the process so far. I am working just a 1x1 ribbing on the back side of the leg of the sock, and then you would have this patterning on the front, and which will then continue on the instep of the foot. Yeah, so these are progressing very well. I am using a 2.25 millimeter needle. I think they will be nice and snug as I like it. Yeah, so I am enjoying this little pattern very much, and half-baked hand-dyed in color way. It is called Watch the Birdie colorway by Half-Baked Hand-Dyed. I knitted up self-striping socks for Christmas, and I bought three extra skeins of yarn for toes and cuffs, and so I can get as many pairs as possible of that yarn. And one of the colors was this lovely light blue aqua color. Yeah, so the Englevinger Angel Wings sock. Since we last spoke, I have also finalized and finished an object. So you can see it here. Yes, I finished this beautiful jumper, and now I am also wearing it with the green Celosia scarf, so you can see how that looks. This jumper is called Dybet, the deep, in the deep, deep down-ish. It is a design by Annette Danielsen, here in a beautiful blue black version, and it is from this book called Mulm og Mørke, which I also talked about last time. I have used, for this project, I have combined Filcolana Avetta Classic with this mode by Rowan, which is a combination of alpaca, 58% 22 wool, 20% polyamide, and a beautiful fluffy yarn, if you can see that. Whoop, 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 maybe here. So these two colors together. And I am finished, and I will now try to stand up so you can see it on me in a bit more detail. I will walk behind the chair. So here it is. It has these graphic lines of pearl stitches and a bit an odd color, but a beautiful color up here that I really like, and sleeves that has the same texture and graphic, and then turning around. Yeah, I finished it a couple of days ago. Totally love it, and it's soft and very warm. I think the alpaca is warm, and this fluffiness just gives it that extra squishiness, softness, almost down-like feel. The color, as you can see, is a sort of a brown beige, a warm beige, and yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I started the 24th of January and I finished the 15th of February. I made size large, extra large. There are 2 sizes in the pattern, and I believe it only exists in Danish, sadly. Well, sadly for you if you are English speaking. Or you can try Google Auto Translate. I don't know how that works actually. I have used a 4.5 millimeter US 7 needle and 1,800 grams or meter of each strand here of yarn. So this is my knitting entry where I've put in again the yarn and the labels. I'm a bit chuffed about myself for having done that. I think it gives a very good overview of and remind me of which item it is by just looking at the yarn samples here. So this is a finished object since we last spoke, Dybet by Annette Danielsen, here featuring a green Celosia scarf. Since we last spoke, I have also fully finished the zipper light jumper for my oldest son. I will here insert some pictures of it lying on the table just before it was handed over. It fitted him perfectly. So I'm happy that I unraveled the first version, which was way too big, and re-knitted it all. It fits him perfectly and he is happy, and it will keep him warm during the rest of the winter. In the last episode, I talked about the books that I've borrowed on the library or at the library here, and there is a jumper in one of those books that I've decided will be the next project. It sits ready in this beautiful bag that Tina from Hverdagsro made for me some years ago now, and I love it, love it, love it. In this Knit for Winter by Susie Haumann, I will knit this cluster port jumper, which is also a split hem and some ribbing details here on the top. And I went to Aalborg a couple of weeks ago, and I went to visit Garn Café Matsin, which is a yarn store I wanted to visit for a long time, and I bought the yarn for that jumper there. And I will go blue As well as the original as in the pattern, I decided to combine a Sega by Filcolana in the colorway 115 and holding it with the silk mohair from Isager. And this is in color 100 and holding those two together. This will be amazing. I haven't tried knitting with this Saga from Filcolana. It is 100% lamb's wool, 300 meters per 50 gram. And the normal silk mohair, 75 mohair, 20% silk, 212 meters per 25 grams. So holding these two double. Yeah. I think that would come in very handy in my wardrobe, and it is already ready. It is already ready in the bag and also in my book. See, I have started. I thought I wanted to start here the 7th of February. I haven't started yet, so I'll have to change that. So I have the two blues there. Yeah. So that will be Klosterport. That will be the next project on my needles. I think I might have spoken very fast because now there's nothing more to talk about, although that I've been knitting up a storm. I've been knitting a lot lately. It's winter time. I have some extra time. So I spent a lot of time on the couch knitting and I love it. Life-wise, I am still enjoying myself here in Denmark. I am applying for jobs and it's progressing with interviews and also some, declines, and I think that is what happens. I will persistently continue to apply because that is, I need an income to progress, sort of to get my own place to live. But currently I'm really enjoying staying here at my brother's house. So far they enjoy having me here as well. And I spent my days knitting, walking, writing job applications, reading, napping, eating, drinking coffee. I'm absolutely fine. I'm absolutely fine. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss out when a new episode launches. And I hope also to see many of the Celosia scarves out there on your needles and around your neck, cozying up and giving a bit of color to your wardrobe. So remember to tag me, Mindful Making, and I'm looking forward to seeing again next time. Bye bye.